And the Phillies walk it off, beating the Blue Jays 4-3 in 10 innings.
It was a battle by both teams, neither one of them giving an inch. Both teams trying to get into the playoffs, and the Phillies come out on top on this one. Vierling has a career night with the game winner, 5 hits tonight as they walk off the Blue Jays.
Boy, a game the Blue Jays looked like they had when Vladdy hit that home run in the top of the 8th, but the Phillies tied it there, and they win it on this chopper. Nothing anybody can do once that ball was in play.
Infield in. It looked like it went off the plate. That high chop right there scores the pinch runner Munoz, and the Phillies beat the Blue Jays for the first time this year and snap their losing streak.
So it's off to Tampa Bay for the Blue Jays after this 4-3 loss. Time now for Blue Jays Central with Jamie and Joe.
Coming up in just a few minutes. First, we'll put a cap on what we just witnessed in Philadelphia as the Blue Jays split the series and head off to Tampa Bay. And there appear to be some bullpen issues with this club all of a sudden, Joe, beginning with Jordan Romano, who couldn't lock it down when he came in the 8th inning. Take us through the at-bat.
Yeah, tough one after that last outing that Jordan had. But when you're facing Kyle Schwarber, we talked about Jordan's slider usage, and it's just amazing to me that you're going to continue to throw sliders to this very good hitter. Now, he's coming out of this bullpen. We talked about in his last outing and how hitters now may be starting to get onto that pitch. Well, he started them out with it. They weren't very good ones, so he fell behind. So 2 very bad ones, trying to find the feel for the pitch. I just thought at some point, if you mix in a fastball at some point here, it just gets a good hitter off the spin, off the slider. But you just continue to throw him. So when a good hitter sees this pitch over and over and over again, even though those first couple weren't very good, there's still the similar velocity, it's a similar look, and it's a similar feel for a hitter watching that ball come out of the pitcher's hand. Slider after slider after slider, threw 5 straight to him. And I think, again, I say this every time because that's on the catcher too. Now, when you have a young, inexperienced catcher back there, he's probably not going to trump the guy on the mound. I'm sure if any of the fastballs were called, Jordan was shaking them off, and he had a game plan, and that's what he wanted to do. It has to change. You can't keep doing this because he's had such a good year. But when you keep going through this, all of these hitters, and we didn't even mention Kyle Schwarber's name last week, but I think I said when you face an Anthony Rizzo or a Yordan Alvarez in October, if you don't think they know the scouting report, you're crazy. They will be all over those pitches. You have to mix it up. He's got 2 good pitches, but you have to deviate a little bit.
The Blue Jays had a number of opportunities to put this game away, especially in that 8th inning. After Vladdy had hit the home run, they had a bases-loaded 1-out situation, remember, and neither Bradley Jr. nor Cavan Biggio could capitalize on just one more run. And then they get their chance in the 10th, bases loaded. Here's Teoscar. Let's go through that because he hit it on the screws. Unfortunately, he hit it right at the second base.
And I'm looking at the 2 walks before Teoscar came to the plate. So you have to know this going up. The pitcher is struggling. He throws a lot of sliders. You saw him going back. Dan and Pat were talking about pitchers going to the rosin bag. They were having trouble with the grip. The sliders weren't necessarily that great. So when you enter this at bat, you have to really, if you want to look for the slider, that's great. But really key on, did a good job here. Laid off the first one, 1-0, 2-0. So again, this is a guy that's having trouble with the strike zone, right? I think Teoscar was thinking fastball here, and that's the mistake that he made. Instead of maybe stay soft and just see the baseball, and if you get the fastball, you could take it even there 2-0, and it's 2-1. That's the worst case. It should have been 3-0 in this at-bat. Instead, it ends this way. That's just tough luck. He hit the ball hard, and it's tough luck for Zimmer on the base pass, too. Some people will say he shouldn't be going towards third, but when you're getting your secondary lead, that's your natural move. That could not have happened any worse for Teoscar and the Blue Jays, but I go back to the 2-0 pitch. If he stays disciplined with a game plan, perhaps he lays off that. He finds himself in a 3-0 count, and I think everything would be very different because he was struggling to find the plate.
And so here comes a big series that begins tomorrow in Tampa Bay, a 4-gamer against the Rays, who were just swept by the Houston Astros. So the Blue Jays will end up with a 2-game spread on the Rays going into that one. The Mariners are playing as we speak on Sportsnet 1 against the Oakland A's, so you can take a look at that. We'll focus on tomorrow night's opener at Tropicana Field as Jose Barrios gets the nod in that one, the first of a 4-game series. Note the start time on Blue Jays Central, 6 Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific time. Look forward to seeing you then. Thanks for watching Blue Jays baseball. Off we go to the Women's Basketball World Cup, Canada taking on Serbia.